So the Mountain Crest Mustangs have a new head football coach. We've had the opportunity to speak to him before when the announcement was made several months ago. Randy Kearns, coming from Ohio to Hiram to be the new coach of the Mustangs. And now, Coach, you've been able to spend some time with these players, assemble your staff. The season is right around the corner for everybody. First of all, just what has been the reception so far now that you've moved here and you've been able to start working with these players and assemble your staff?
Well, thanks, guys, for having me on again, man. It seems like it has been a good period of time. It seems like 2 years ago when we did an interview back in early February. So, but honestly, the reception has been great here. Really, administration's been real supportive of what we're doing. People here, and you guys know this because of the history of this place, they want a winner. They want to support a winner. So that's been great. And my coaching staff's come together. Kind of had some guys come on board, go and then get off board. There's been some changes in the district that have prevented coaches from coaching here and things like that. But we're rounded out with a really solid staff. I'm really pleased with their adjustments because it's a lot different for a lot of those guys that have been around the area for a while. Yeah, and then the kids have been outstanding. I've really enjoyed the kids. I know even Coach Wise, when I got the job in December, he said, "Man, you're really going to love the kids." And he definitely was not lying. I really love the kids. They've really gotten after it. They've done everything I've asked.
So what does your coaching staff look like at this point?
We got, 9 or 10 total coaches on varsity. We got four or five on freshmen. But basically I had a offensive coordinator set for a couple of months there in the winter and the spring, but he actually took a head coaching job in Twin Falls up there. Twin Falls. And about 3 months ago, so I became the de facto offensive coordinator at that point. I got Matt Webb has been out of the coaching for a couple years, but he's back in now. He's our defensive coordinator. He's running that defense kind of along with Chad Olson, who's been a 20-year plus coach in this district here. And we got Heath Worley coming over from Logan back in the heydays under Coach Favero back there. He's going to coach. He's coaching part of our defensive line. Devin Budge is a part of our defensive line. And I got a couple returning. I probably got the most returning coaches on offense. We got Junior Pujutau has been and Bracken Atkinson have been on staff for a couple of years here. They've done a great job. Ron Schwab, he's been our freshman coach for the last 3 or 4 years. He's coming up to do running backs for us. And then we got Chris Baldwin coming on board. He's kind of a long-time community member here who I've been really impressed with so far. So that's kind of where we're at. I've been really pleased. That's been honestly, man, that's probably been the biggest adjustment that I was looking forward to is not the kids. The kids are kids. They'll do, everybody knows most coaches know how to relate to kids and how to get the most out of them. And I could tell from what the kids were doing in the summer, they were bought in. So I didn't really think that would be an issue. But when we started our camp, even late January, you're like, all right, are these coaches going to do what I expect? How much am I going to have to coach and change these guys a little bit, work with these guys a little bit?
Yeah, I remember in our conversations with you in the wintertime that you were more interested in coaches and their attitudes towards the students and the athletes and kind of the mindset more than what maybe their experience was. So do you feel like you've got that collection of coaches with what you had in mind or what you hope to have in mind?
I really do. I mean, it's these guys, and I think that you guys probably do this too, and most other Cache Valley coaches, but you're probably not coaching in Utah for money. So it's you have to be in this for the right reasons, and they definitely are. It's just a matter of coaches. I've always felt, even as a player for sure, but even as a coach, if you're not enjoying it, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? You know what I mean? Life's too short for that stuff, to hate what you're doing. So I've kind of had to bring out a little bit of pep, a little bit of zest and juice out of these coaches that maybe wasn't there in the past. But they've definitely, you have some, not resistance, but there's just like, man, this is what I need to do. That's not what I'm used to. But they've really turned it on here. I'm really pleased.
We're talking to Randy Kearns, his new head coach of the Mountain Crest football team. And, Coach, talking about doing a reset with the coaching staff, but also trying to reset this team. It's a program that has a rich history of success.
Right.
And you touched on that you've been pleased with the players and how they're buying into this. So what does that what does that roster look like for you right now? I know you've got quite a bit of some returning experience on that offensive line, which is always helpful, and a returning quarterback. But what is that looking like so far as you're building towards the start of the season here soon?
Well, I was coming out here. I didn't move out here till June 10th, June 11th. So I kind of didn't really know. I was like, all right, well, we'll see what it's all about out here, see what I got. I've been really pleased with the talent level. I think there's plenty of talent here. And I think we definitely, there's plenty of talent, but it's got to be harvested. It's got to be taken in the right direction. It's got to be coached every day, so that's kind of been our focus as far as in building a positive, enjoyable culture. The kids, I've been having to, since we started camp in July, I live in West Haven, so I'm really having to kick kids out of here, out of the locker room, kicking kids off the field, even after a 2.5, 3 hour practice. So I think that's a really good indication of kind of where we are and kind of where the kids are and their enjoyment and how they feel. I think that they're getting better. But yeah, we got some experience in the trenches, like numerous guys returning. There's 3 or 4 guys up front that are returning that played a lot of, either didn't start every game, but started a lot of games last year maybe. Preston Lofthouse, a quarterback, I've been very, very impressed with just as a person and with his work ethic and leadership. But he's a really good athlete at quarterback. If we give him, I think we give him some protection. We give him some solid run game. I think he can really do some stuff for us. Defensively, that's kind of been our focus because you can't give up 55 points. You can't give up 40 plus points to win games. So that's kind of really been our focus. We have a lot of kids that are hard nosed. I really have been impressed with that. I haven't had to say, like, do you want to hit somebody or anything like that? Like, these kids have really gotten after them on defense and really stepping up. I mean, it's like, man, I blew the whistle. Stop hitting each other. So it's kind of interesting.
What as you were a coach for a lot of years in Ohio, what's been that it's kind of the comparing and maybe contrasting the talent level of what you were used to and what you're seeing so far in Hiram?
I think it's very similar, probably even more so here. I think there's a lot of talent here. I've been really impressed with the athleticism, the bodies, and the work ethic of guys. I mean, and what I've been probably the most impressed with compared to my past jobs has been, I think, the ability of the kids to kind of self-diagnose and to take coaching and self-diagnose, like, here's what I did wrong. They know what they did wrong, and you know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of what's been the most impressive. A lot of times, especially at the type of schools I've been at before, where you're like, you have to tell kids 95 times. It's like, man, you finally got it, But our kids here, I've been really pleased with. I mean, once or twice, you're coaching them, you're explaining it to them, and then even if they mess up, they know what they messed up on. So it's that's been really, really pleasing to me. But outside of that, I mean, you honestly don't have enough time for me to go into the differences between the biggest thing for me has been the rules in Utah, and a lot of the way things are done here, I haven't understood, or maybe I don't agree with, or maybe I'm just not used to, So you honestly don't have enough time for me to go into all that stuff. But it's been quite the eye-opening experience.
Yeah, we'll have to have another segment on that maybe at a later date.
You get a special segment on that.
Yes, that's right. Your team, not only are you trying to come together and reset a culture and bring a lot of new people together and understanding what's expected of this new head coach, but you guys got to try to prove yourselves pretty early on with a pretty grueling schedule. All your non-region games are against the 5A schools, so a higher level of competition, typically speaking, but how do you feel like that could be a good barometer and a good test to get you ready for what Region 11 may have to offer?
Oh yeah, we were just talking about that as coaching staff, kind of where we are, and I rely on a lot of my coaches. Like, okay, where are we compared to where we've been in the past, or other teams in the Valley, et cetera. I think most of our coaches really kind of like how we can stack up against some of the region teams, at least be in the games and create a high level of competition there. But we were just talking like on Friday, we're like, man, our schedule is just brutal. I mean, it is an absolute bear. You look at, we replaced Hillcrest. It was a game you wanted to keep, unfortunately, but they had to change the region. They had to change their schedule. So we had Maple Mountain on week 10, which is, a really good program down there. So that's not really a fair trade, but it was either them or Orem, I think. So I was like, okay, but we got Stansbury opening up with, which is a good program. It's on the road. It's a long drive. It's a first game with a new staff. We did not do any scrimmages this summer because of just kind of how far behind we were. So that's going to be really a good barometer to see where we are and see what we got to improve upon. But then you go, Box Elder, Highland, all those schools. It's like, man, it's just going to be, there isn't one game you look at and be like, man, we can really take it to this team. It's going to be an absolute brutal 10 games for sure.
So when you have a preseason like that, or pre-region, I guess I should say, do you feel like, is that normally how you'd like to do it? Go up against some tougher competition, you may get some bruises and have to lick some wounds here and there, but once you go through that, it helps prepare you better for region play, or would you rather the schedule maybe help you ease into region play, maybe with some lower level competition? And how do you generally like to put a schedule together?
Honestly, I think we'd like a decent balance there. You'd like a game or two where you think you can see success and the kids can get confident, but you also want to challenge yourselves as well to see where you're at. And especially with as good as the Region 11 is up here, it's going to be these schools are fighting for. There's numerous schools here fighting to get to the state finals every year. So I don't think we definitely should be ready. I think, but I think I'd like to see a little bit more balance going in the future.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck. Exciting to see what this new era for Mountain Crest football looks like under your direction. And it's the season opener on the road at Stansbury coming up on August 13th. Best of luck.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys.